Hello, fellow investor. I want to welcome you to the channel. In this video, we're going to look at earnings expectations for Costco. Costco is scheduled to report first quarter earnings on Thursday, May 29th after the market close. We'll cover several topics to see how Costco is trading going into the earnings and help set expectations moving forward. We will review the current price chart and trend charts, along with some key valuation metrics. I will also share my Costco portfolio holdings and performance. Let's get started. Costco is scheduled to report first quarter earnings on Thursday, May 29th after the market close. In the previous quarter, Costco reported revenue of $63.72 billion, beating revenue estimates by $611.59 million. Costco reported earnings of $4.04 per share, missing estimates by 8 cents. For this quarter, the revenue estimate is $63.1 billion, with earnings per share of $4.24 per share. Over the last 90 days, 11 analysts raised estimates and 11 analysts lowered estimates. Costco meets or beats analysts' 1 year forward estimates 100% of the time. Costco is showing positive relative strength going into the earnings. The options market is pricing an implied move of plus or minus 4%. Costco is slightly less than a 2% position in my equity portfolio. I began my Costco position in December of 2023 and have a core position, but have added and trimmed 13 times through May of 2025. The current Costco shares are at an average cost of $721.12. The total return is 58.1% on the holding. For the 13 trades, 12 are winning trades and 1 losing trade. The gain-loss ratio is 7.03 to 1, with a win rate of 92%. Let's take a look at the Costco price chart using daily data for the last year. One thing we can notice is that Costco was trading at all-time highs at the beginning of February. On Friday, we did close just below the 20-day moving average, but the 20-day, the 50-day, and the 200-day are all sloping upward. We do have a positive but declining RSI, currently sitting at 52.95. We also have a positive PPO, also declining with a signal line crossover to the downside. Following the previous report on March the 6th of 2025, which was a beat on revenue but a miss on earnings, the Costco share price dropped down about 6%, and then over the next 5 days dropped down 12.6%. On December the 12th, it followed a similar pattern. This report was a double beat, but 2 weeks following the report, it had fallen by 8.74%. Then with the tariff announcements, Costco, like many other stocks, had fallen to a low following those announcements. Costco dropped down to $870 per share. One of the interesting things that I see when I draw a horizontal line from that price back to the beginning of the chart is I see that Costco traded up to that line as resistance. It exceeded it somewhat in early July, but did come down below that. Then we had a crossover, and we came down to test that in early October. We came down to test it once more at the beginning of November. And then once again, we came down to test that level in April of this year. So this particular line seems to be 875, seems to be very good support for Costco. Toward the end of April, before the earnings report, I trimmed about 30% of my Costco portfolio at an average price of $1,032, and then I re-added at the end of March or mid-March at $109. Based on the history over the last year and the fact that we have weakening momentum going into the earnings, I did trim about 10% of my portfolio last Friday. Might also be interesting to note the dividend increase from $1.16 a share to $1.30 per share, which was a 12% increase. From a relative strength comparing to the SPX, Costco is showing weakness compared to the SPX in both relative strength and momentum. We've had very positive accumulation, reaching a 52-week high a week back, and then seeing a little bit of decumulation as we move into the earnings. We also see positive cash flow. And when we compare Costco to the S&P 500, for the past year it has outperformed by 15.56. Comparing to the sector, consumer staples, we see an outperformance of 16.97. Comparing it to its own industry, personal products, we can see an outperformance of 54.03%. But the industry itself has underperformed the S&P 500 by nearly 25%. On the Costco 5-year weekly chart, Costco underperformed its major averages at the end of 2022 up through about May of 2023. And since that time, it has exceeded its long-term major averages since. It is coming closer to those major averages as we progress through 2024 and 2025. Costco is outperforming its midterm averages with slight decreases over the last week. And Costco is also outperforming its shorter term averages, but is decreasing over the last week. Let's look at the valuation growth and profitability metrics from Seeking Alpha for Costco. Costco, for a forward PE, is trading at a premium to the sector. Costco trades at 55.77 times forward PE, with the sector average at 16.39 times. As far as growth, the EPS expected growth rate for Costco is 12.13% compared to the sector average of 5.48%. And the expected revenue growth for Costco is 6.73% compared to the sector at 2.76%. And then finally, profitability. Costco has a net margin of 2.89% compared to the sector at 4.17% on average. Looking at the Costco data using fast graphs, there's a lot of interesting things to see here. Looking at the max time frame for data that's available from fast graphs, we can see over the last 20 years or so that Costco has traded at what fast graphs calculates to be its fair value of 15 times, has only traded down to that level one time over the last 25 years. And that was during the Great Recession, 2007 through 2009 or so. It has always traded more at a market multiple closer to its current at 28 times for most of this time. During the Great Financial Crisis, out through about 2014, it traded below its normal market multiple. But since that time, it has traded either at or above that for most of this time. And in 2019, really started to perform even better than its market multiple, now trading at a blended PE of 57.05. So the market tends to place a very high multiple on Costco. If we look at a 13-year time frame, we mentioned that Costco is trading at a blended PE of 57.05 times, has an EPS yield of 1.75%, and has a dividend yield of 0.52%. For the time frame that we're showing, the adjusted operating earnings growth rate is 12.56 per year. Fast Graphs calculates the fair value to be 15 times, but the normal PE is 34.57 times. So currently Costco is trading at 57 times, so it is trading higher than its normal market multiple. Costco is expected to deliver 9% EPS growth for 2025, 10% for 2026, and 8% for 2027. The bottom line here is Costco is priced for perfection, and that's probably why we see a little fall, at least over the last year, why we see a little decrease in the price following earnings. It tends to run up before earnings, and then people take profits and the price decreases. But Costco always seems to recover back to near all-time highs not soon after. One other quick thing to notice here about Costco is this light green color here is their dividend payments. But you'll notice that Costco on several occasions in the past has paid out special dividends that have been close to $10 a share or so. So that's also attractive to investors who want to collect on these special dividends. I hope you found this earnings preview helpful. If so, please subscribe to the channel for future videos and consider giving a like to help support the channel. Thank you for stopping by. I wish you the best in your investment journey, and remember to trade well.